So what's going on? Today I'm gonna go over power and strength exercises that you can do for boxing performance. Let's get into it. Boxing exercises. So we're gonna work through strength movements and power movements. For the strength movement, we wanna go high force, we wanna work foundational patterns, and we wanna work global and regional movements. So global meaning full body, regional meaning cutting the body in half. So we're gonna work through the squat, hinge, press, and pull, the foundational patterns. For the squat, however, I do wanna do a concentric B-stand squat. And the reason why I've been doing this for years, I love that particular exercise because it allows us to get power and strength and high force through a fixed position that can be conducive to the ring itself. So we put them in accentuation phase, meaning we put them in a position of where they're gonna have to produce force inside the ring, so it is a little bit more sport specific, but it allows us also to get strength built up in that range. Now the hinge is gonna be a stiff-legged deadlift. We're gonna work the hamstrings and the glutes, maintaining posture. It is good for hip extension, which will generate force throughout your punches. You need that inside the ring. Next one is gonna be a press variation. We're gonna do a half kneeling one-arm press with the landmine. Now the landmine is really good because it allows us in that fixed position. You have to worry about having to stabilize with a dumbbell or anything like that. It's stuck into the ground, so we have that one line of force. As we go to press, you're gonna press in that horizontal fashion. And again, you can also load that up as much as possible, making sure that they're stabilizing their trunk as they go to press. Pull variation, pen lay rows. I like it because one, it's a row variation, so you're gonna work the posterior chain and you can load this thing up and start from a concentric action. So you're gonna pull it, bring it back down, rest, pull it up to the chest, bring it back down and rest. All right, so now for power. Power, we need to make sure that we have high velocity and high force being displayed throughout the exercise. So I like to work through rotational patterns and then also global and regional movement. Banded kettlebell swings because you get accommodated resistance and you get an overspeed eccentric. So as they're pulling it down, you get a stretch reflex, basically having the ability to produce force fast off of that stretch. Landmine chop, you're gonna use the landmine again. As you go to rotate, you're gonna keep your arms in a fixed position and rotate through that oblique sling, so that 45-degree range, right, that motion. It's gonna be good for uppercuts, right, getting that rotation there built in for your strikes. Banded lateral broad jumps, we're gonna use the band again for accommodated resistance, and you're gonna use the glute to initiate the contraction to go ahead and push you on that lateral force. And then the last one, we're gonna go ahead and do cable rotational row. So we're gonna use the lat and your oblique as you go to row through. We're gonna stagger our feet and make it happen. Remember, all these movements need to be as fast as possible so that you can produce power, but you do need to have some load on the implement so that you can still produce some force there too as well. First exercise, the concentric only B-stand squat. You want to make sure that you're setting up the pins appropriately for the range that you want to hit and also the limb length of the athlete. I'm using a safety bar because a lot of my guys lack that external rotation, plus their shoulders get beat up from punching a lot inside the gym. So using the safety bar, if you do have one, would be ideal. If not, you can always do a front rack, or if they can, just go ahead and do the barbell. But for the most part, if you don't, I would say invest in a safety bar. Now with the pins, like I said, make sure that you're allowing the athlete to get down into a squat position. So right around 90 degrees is fine. We want to be able to produce force, not only activate the muscles of the glutes, the hamstrings, and the quads. In the B stance, we want to make sure that we're slightly externally rotated on the backside leg, heels off the ground, and you're driving off the front leg too as well, getting that deep position. I also like to start on the pins so the athlete has to climb underneath the bar and produce force concentrically. The next one we're gonna do is a stiff-legged deadlift or an RDL. Slight bend in the knee, you're not driving the knees forward. Our goal is to keep the hips high and pull, squeeze the glutes. You're gonna initiate the movement, keeping the lats tight with the hamstrings engaged as you go to drive into hip extension. We'll go double overs, keeping everything consistent and neutral. You're gonna take the bar, you're gonna come up with the high hip and drive through. Come down, slide the bar down the thighs. Go as low as you can to get a good stretch without rounding the upper back, primarily without rounding the low back, and also without having to bend the knees forward. So we're gonna keep that stretch on and then drive up. Slow coming down, slow coming down. If you can get all the way to the ground, that's good. And then drive up. Keep the lats tight, keep the lats tight. You do it right, you'll feel it all the way through your posterior chain. So we got the half kneeling landmine press. With the landmine press in this half kneeling position, now you don't have to start in the half kneeling position. You can start from standing, you can go from 2 knees down, whatever. But the goal here is to not rotate on this one. I just want full press power here. So we're pressing, we're not rotating, working the interior delts, working the triceps as you go to press in this 45-degree range. All right, so we're gonna take the bar, get close, stack the wrist on the elbow here. Everything's tight. Other hand, you can create irradiation. You're gonna lock in place, abs are tight, and then drive. Come back down, controlled. Don't let it pull you down like this. Maintain your posture, and then drive through. Nothing else is moving but the arm as you press. So notice I'm not going here. I'm not letting my trunk rotate or move or crunch down, or I'm not gonna lose my posture. I'm just gonna drive through, maintain resilience. So we got the Pendlay row. We're gonna start from the ground. You want your chest parallel to the ground, hips are high. I'm gonna take a shoulder width grip, and I'm just gonna drive my elbows back, pulling the bar to my sternum. Pause for a second, and go again. One thing I don't want to see is get it to where it's so heavy that you have to jerk your body upright. A lot of people end up doing this. You come here and then they try to pull and lift their upper body up, which you don't want to do. So you don't want to see any motion in the chest going up and down, right? So no hinging or no extending of the hips. Your hips are staying in a fixed position as you go to row. Again, looks like this. Pull. Not like this. So we did 4 exercises for strength building. Now we're gonna go ahead and do 4 exercises for power. First one is the banded kettlebell swing. I've done plenty of videos on this, but I'll do it again. We're gonna go ahead and take the band, loop it through the handle, pull tight, make sure that the band is nice and tight around the handle. From there, you're gonna go ahead and step into the band. Obviously, the wider you go, the more tension you're gonna get. You don't wanna go too wide because you wanna maintain your positioning so you can get good hip extension and a good hinge. Kettlebell in front, handle tip towards you. You're gonna hike it through your legs like a football and then drive your hips into extension. Make sure as it comes down, you control it and then get full hip extension afterwards. So with the landmine chop, we're gonna go ahead and stagger the feet slightly. I would say 1 inch back from the front foot. So we'll get a little bit of a stagger here. We're gonna start here at the hip on the front leg, the one that's in front more. Right leg's in front, I'm gonna start on the right hip. From there, I'm gonna chop and go thrust up into midline. So I'm gonna start here, the left arm, hand is overhand, underhand is the right arm. As I go to pull, I'm gonna pull and rotate. So I'm gonna pull, and then I'm gonna drive my hip through into extension. Come back down, hinge a bit, load the hip, make sure the knee isn't flared out too much. Gonna put pressure on the instep, the first med head, and still keep pressure on the 5th med head along with the heel. As I go to thrust the bar up, we're gonna go ahead and drive the hip through. All right, so now we got the lateral broad jump with the band. So with the band, I'm getting that accommodated resistance. Jack's gonna go ahead and hold the band so that he can allow me to produce that force, but I'm still getting that resistance. So I'm gonna load my hip, I'm gonna rotate over the knee side, I'm gonna jump through. When I jump through, I wanna rotate my body. I want you to come down fast and then redirect force. Come down fast, push. If you wanna use the turn, you can use the turn. If not, you can just go straight lateral. Load, push, load, push. So the last one we got is a cable rotational row. Now with this one, you're gonna go ahead and stagger the feet, but I want a good stance. So you're gonna spread out the legs a little bit more, and you're gonna drive your shoulder forward with the cable hand side. Then from there, you're gonna rotate and drive the hip through. So you're gonna still get full hip extension on the front leg. As you go to pull the cable, you're gonna rotate through and drive the hip through. Big stretch on the lat, knees inside. I'm gonna pull my lat to my ribs and then drive my hip through, squeezing the glute. So big stretch, boom. Notice my hip, right? I'm driving to hip extension, squeezing the glute as I go to row and pull back. So I'm using my lats, I'm tying into my obliques and into my glute. All right, there you have it. 4 exercises for strength, 4 exercises for power that I utilize with all of my boxers. Now, as far as sets and reps goes, with the strength portion, you obviously want to keep that lower in reps because the intensity should be higher. So you're looking anywhere 5 reps or under. You want to stay between 3 to 5 sets in total, depending upon your progressions. For the power work, same concept. We want to keep it lower in reps because we still want to maintain that power and energy production throughout each rep. 3 to 5 reps, roughly 3 to 5 sets through as well on each side if you're doing unilateral. If you want to find out more details on how you can train some of these movements inside of a program, check out Heavy Hitter and Brutal Bare Knuckle Boxing. All those programs are down below. Link is in the description. And also if you want to rock the merch, Type A, oversized tees, check them out. They're down below too as well. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification, hit the like button, boom. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.